Hello and welcome to the Solid Waste Association of North America's webinar, Breaking Down Barriers to Glass Recycling. My name is Marissa Segundo. I'm Senior Communications Strategist at Resource Recycling Systems. I'm also part of the Managing Consultancy for the Glass Recycling Coalition, and I'm a proud SWANA member since 2009. Today we have an excellent panel. You can see our panelists here. Scott DeFife is with the Glass Packaging Institute. Amy Wong is with Sims Municipal Recycling. Andrea Rodriguez Pinheiro is with FCC Environmental Services. Angus Crane is with the North American Insulation Manufacturers. And finally, Jim Nordmeyer is with OI Glass. We'll start our session today with our first speaker, Scott DeFife. Scott is the president of the Glass Packaging Institute. He's the president of the Glass Recycling Foundation, and he's also on the leadership of the Glass Recycling Coalition. Without further ado, Scott, take it away.
Thanks, Marissa. And I'll add also a proud SWANA member since 2020, since I just started in this role at GPI in 2019. Took me a couple months to get enrolled, but I joined SWANA last year, and I'm happy to be a part of the organization. And thanks to SWANA for setting up this session and allowing us to talk about glass. There's some great panelists on with me, and I think by the end, hopefully we've answered a lot of questions and dispelled a lot of myths about glass recycling in the United States. So I am Scott DeFife. I am the president of the Glass Packaging Institute, also the foundation and in the leadership committee of the Glass Recycling Coalition. GPI is the trade association of the glass container manufacturers. One of my members, Owens, Illinois, is on with us today from the glass container production side. But the trade association also represents all of the raw materials that go into making glass containers, glass recycling organizations, and all the other parts of getting the bottles to the consumer shelves, caps, closures, labels, inks, things of that nature, and some packaging. Last year, during our COVID times, when we couldn't get out and about and go to conferences and things of that nature, we decided to turn inwards and do some research and analysis to try to address one of the key issues for glass containers in the United States, and that is the recycling issues, the recycling supply chain, and the circular future for glass. There have been many organizations, including the US EPA, who have dedicated effort towards increasing the recycling rate, studying a national recycling rate, and announcing a 50% by 2030 goal. We were working on a similar project at GPI and wanted to take it another step forward by not only working to get to a 50% goal and committing the industry to a 50% goal, but also laying out a roadmap of how we could get there. In addition to increasing the recycling rate to 50% or higher by 2030, the members of the Glass Packaging Institute are committing to trying to work to get a recycled content rate for the average glass container made in North America up to 50% as well. Right now, both levels hovering in the low 30s. It's been that way for the past decade or more. And in order to get to 50%, there's plenty of glass in the United States to get that done. We just have to get, the industry needs to get our hands on it and get that back into the supply chain. Most of that, which is not getting processed right now, is going directly to landfill. And so we worked on a set of policies and levers, tools, if you will, in our toolbox to work across regions to get the recycling rate up to 50% and get a lot of that cullet back into glass container plants. There's a lot of benefits to doing this. On this slide, we talk about a lot of the positive qualities for glass recycling. Glass recycling in the United States is a net environmental positive, reducing carbon emissions for every incremental ton of recycled glass that goes back into container manufacture. once you turn the raw materials into glass the first time, it's infinitely recyclable. It takes less energy to get that material back into molten form to turn into a new bottle, and it can be recycled over and over again without any degradation in quality. So getting to our 50% goal is also going to have a significant positive impact on carbon emissions and the carbon footprint of the glass industry. But when we started off, we have a real patchwork quilt in this country, and it's not an even distribution of where the material is coming from. It probably will not surprise folks listening to this webinar that the bulk of the cullet, which is the recycled glass that's ready for furnace, of a high quality ready for furnace, is coming from the 10 bottle bill states or redemption states, majority of that, because there's a high volume. It's good, clean material that has very low contamination, and the supply chains are oriented towards getting that material back into the furnaces. However, we have 47, 48 plants in the United States and Canada together, plus some additional plants along the US-Mexico border. And, we cannot just rely on all of the bottle bill states to get that material. However, getting to 50% means we need to make that system better all over the country from region to region. There are many places where we have low teens or single-digit glass recycling rates to counter the very high recycling rates from our bottle bill states. In general, our estimate from our report last year was that the bottle bill states are about 63% glass recycling rates. Oregon had the highest in our estimation at 73%. But the recycling rate for all materials in the United States is 32%, and the glass recycling rate in the non-bottle bill states is at 24%. So we've got our work to do, but we need to tailor our solutions to different regions of the country. And here's a variety of different findings that we, of course, there's more than one reason that glass recycling, has a disparate return in different parts of the country. Some areas the material is further away from markets, and we need to work on market and transportation efficiencies. Some regions of the country are deficient in processing. Other regions have good MRF take-up of glass, but the facilities themselves are lacking the proper equipment to get good quality material from the MRF to the end markets. So as you can see here, there's a variety of pain points and pinch points in the supply chain, and our work is going to be to address each of these areas in different regions where those efforts will make the most difference. I do like to always point out the glass infrastructure in the United States, because one of the things that we hear most often is that there's no end markets for glass. We hear that often from folks talking about the output from particular material recovery facilities. Sometimes I hear it when there's a container plant in the next county or a glass processing facility, in the next county. And so we always like to point out that there is a wide variety of glass end markets and infrastructure in the United States. We have the glass manufacturers here. Angus is going to speak later from the fiberglass industry's perspective. We've got a map of some of the fiberglass plants here, both certified MRFs from a glass recycling coalition standpoint, like SIMS and now SEC, but also non-certified MRFs that still take glass. Our light blue states are states that I can talk about later when we talk about some of the policy initiatives that we've got going on. These are areas where we have active projects under discussion and underway to advance glass recycling in those states. After our study about the supply chain challenges, we decided to hone in on the next 2-year strategy. So really getting to 50% by 2030, of course, is a 10-year strategy. We can't get it all done in the first 2 years. But in the beginning, this year and next year, we're focused very much on working together to find innovative financing, working on cleaner streams, expanding commercial recycling. And by that, I'm usually speaking about, it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to just be bars and restaurants, but often bars and restaurants in the retail sector are glass intensive retail establishments. There's a lot of good clean glass there, and the commercial recycling system is often underappreciated in the amount that it can return to the supply chain, and expanding the reach and access to processing. Finally, if we need a statewide policy strategy, we're working on those as well in a couple key areas. Our goal here is to create pilots in each of these, problem-solving areas, and to show other states and communities that we can advance the ball with glass recycling due to a variety of different methods over the next 10 years. To get us started, we really need to talk about quality. Quality matters. And one of the things that I've been thinking about this year after our report was done, and in all of the webinars and conversations I have week to week on glass recycling, it always starts with quality. And I've started to think about material recovery facilities because there's a lot of comparison and contrast between bale price and commodity market issues and things of that nature. But I want to take a chance, a moment here to talk to you about reconsidering how you think about your glass pile. In fact, glass is one of the negative sorts in most MRFs. And if you see in the one picture here, this is a MRF tipping floor that is labeled as glass. I see K-cups, I see plastic straws, I see bottle caps, I see a couple cans, and yeah, I can see an occasional glass bottle in there. As opposed to drop-off glass or bottle bill glass, which is seen in the other picture, very clearly, it's glass bottles. In a MRF, if the glass pile is one of the things that can show you the actual health and quality status of the other systems operating in the MRF. And so I think we need to think about the glass pile as indicative of the overall efficiency of the material recovery facility in its first place, and compare it not to the quality of a bale that's being shipped overseas for mixed plastic or aluminum, but compare it to essentially what else is left at the end of the material recovery facility process, which is destined for landfill. And a pile like this, which may be 50% glass and 50% things that aren't glass, really moving that material from the material recovery facility to glass processing is what's depressing the value of the glass. And so if you're hearing about depressed value for the glass that's coming out of your community's MRF, it may be that we need to check the quality first and see what the kind of contamination levels, residual contamination levels are coming along with your MRF glass pile. And we have also studied, what is the likelihood of the glass coming through a MRF, such as the picture that we just showed. This is a material flow study done a few years ago by RRS that shows that in non-bottle bill states, this is for non-bottle bill states, not bottle bill states, would be a different percentages, but in the non-bottle bill states, already 40% plus is going directly to landfill. Never has a chance to get back into the recycling system one way or the other. And of the material that is getting into the recycling system, curbside to MRF or drop-off material, a substantial portion of that can become glass cullet that can then be used in glass end markets like packaging, durable goods, fiberglass, other materials, but then other end markets such as mineral replacement and also landfill cover do come along with that, as opposed to bottle bill material where 70 or 80% of that glass is getting back into the supply chain, and almost all of the bottles in a redemption state are going to make it back into a furnace application. So one of the things that we've done next is distill all the questions that we've been getting over the course of the past year, talking to different communities around the country about their glass recycling systems, and put together a quick glass recycling study. This is up on our GPI website, a guidebook for people looking for basic steps in different systems for glass recycling, and also questions that we think municipal recycling leaders should ask about glass recycling before any drastic steps are taken to change the material away from the curbside. Yes, you're going to see us talk about cleaner streams and of that nature, but the sheer volume and simplicity and availability, convenience for your residential consumers at the curb is going to drive a lot of the volume. The key to that system is getting good quality out of the end of the process. So before, cities who we know are cash strapped right now, and there's a lot of budget questions, but before anybody takes any dramatic steps to reduce glass recycling in their community, we'd love to see that you look at these questions and contact the industry. We want to be of support. We understand the situations are difficult right now, but we think with cleaner streams that we can turn those glass processing and glass recycling systems into positives for your community from a budget standpoint, as well as from the convenience and support from your residents. Thank you very much. Marissa, you're on mute.
Thanks, Scott. That was a great presentation. And we have just one question before we move on to our next presenter. What do you think is the biggest barrier for glass recycling from a municipal perspective? You showed some of the resources that you're willing to offer, but what are some of those barriers that you're hearing about?
Certainly information is key, but I'm going to come back to quality, right? So the quality is going to drive the end market value of the commodity. And we know that with budgets the way that they are and all of the other upset that's going on in the international recycling commodity market, getting good quality material out of your material recovery facility and your partner in that respect is going to really determine the path forward for your community in glass recycling. Good quality means higher value and good end markets. Lower quality means you've got tougher choices and we're more limited in what we can do to help the system.
Great. Thanks, Scott. So now we'll turn over to our next presenter, who is Amy Wong, and she is the Deputy General Manager of Sims Municipal Recycling, and she's also a Glass Recycling Coalition member and is on our MRF Certification Committee. So welcome to Amy.
Thank you, Marissa. Hello, everyone, and thank you for having me here today. I am the Deputy General Manager for Sims Municipal Recycling, a proud member of the Glass Recycling Coalition. Since 2003, Sims Municipal Recycling has been processing dual stream recycled material. We hold a long-term contract with the City of New York and sort 100% of its recycled or residential curbside metal, glass, plastic, and cartons. We also operate the Solid Waste Authority of Palm Beach County's Recovered Materials Processing Facility in West Palm Beach, Florida. Collectively, our East Coast operations process over 700,000 tons of metal, glass, plastic, and cartons annually. To aid in the glass recovery in our Northeast operations, we built and operate a glass beneficiation plant that sorts between 10 to 12,000 tons of burst glass each month. And then generally, most of the glass collection nationally happens at the curbside. And it's more commonly collected as single stream material where glass, plastic, and metal and paper are commingled together. That commingled material moves from a truck, possibly to a transfer facility, and then to a material recovery facility where it's separated into its markable grades as compressed blocks or loose material. And glass is brittle and it breaks into smaller pieces throughout the collection and recovery process, whereas other packaging and container materials like plastic, paper, and metal remain relatively intact. In MRFs, glass and other small objects are sized out of the system, generally with 3-inch screens. And that material you'll notice is glass, and of course, as Scott mentioned, contains other plastic bits, caps, small film and paper, metal and cork. And that small fraction material would need additional sortation equipment to separate it into something that can be sold. And we understand that it can be a challenge for MRFs to sort small fraction material because it's abrasive and can wear equipment down faster than anticipated. But really, the primary challenge is that glass recycling requires additional separation equipment, because most MRFs don't produce a quality product that can be fed directly to furnaces unless they collect it on the side or containers on the side. And most often, MRF glass needs to go to a glass beneficiation facility to separate out the metals, plastics, and fiber contamination. And depending on where the MRF is situated, the volume of small fraction material it produces, sometimes those economics may not work in the favor for a MRF to send their material to a beneficiation plant or create a product that can be consumed by furnaces. So what ends up happening is that the MRF sends their small fraction material to landfills for disposal or for use as alternative daily cover. Ultimately, when that happens, we lose that embedded energy that could have been saved if the glass container were recycled. And knowledge is half the battle. And it's about making sure MRFs and communities they service understand that they have options and what those are, even though it may not be the easiest. Outside of landfills, the highest and best use for glass is to create a cullet that can be fed into a furnace and turned back into a new glass product. Glass can then be cleaned up or ground for use in sandblasting applications, to create fiberglass to insulate homes or commercial spaces, to be turned into a foam glass or lightweight aggregate for use in construction projects. It can be turned into ground glass pozzolan to be used as a substitute for fly ash in concrete, or even as fill or drainage material in local construction projects. And the glass landscape does change. If MRFs or their communities want to learn more about alternatives near them, they can, of course, visit GRC's website to check out the glass map, and that's at glassrecycles.org. I think it's /glass map. And also on the GRC website, there are tools for MRFs and communities to learn about best management practices to help in the recovery of the recycled glass. You can read about the typical sortation process, the improvements MRFs may exercise in order to clean their glass, with topics ranging from MRF configurations to how to remove glass contaminants. And then in the fall of 2019, GRC developed and launched the MRF Glass Certification Program with the intent to encourage and support the growth of quality glass products. And through this free program, we are incentivizing stakeholders to incorporate industry best practices to promote the highest and best use of their recycled glass products. We've made the process simple, so MRFs may not be, or they can be encouraged to apply. And in turn, municipalities could adopt and use it as a tool in their RFPs or in their contracts to ensure a minimum standard is met. And of course, the efforts made by MRFs will be recognized and promoted by the GRC. Certified MRFs will be prominently listed on the GRC website and other industry publications. Last and most importantly, providing communities with the confidence that MRFs are doing the best that they can to create a quality glass product. So the program awards 3 certification levels: bronze, silver, and gold, with gold being the highest level. And this certification is good for 3 years. And when reviewing applications, committee members will evaluate systems based on whether or not they accept glass, the quality it produces, the best management practices they utilize, and if they have connected their material with end markets other than landfill applications. The application is online. It can be found on the GRC website, and we just require several questions to be answered along with photo documentation of the glass quality coming from the MRF. And of course, we're targeting MRFs with glass cleanup systems, which includes manual sortation, mechanical sortation or drop-offs. And the metrics that we examine relate to the infrastructure, glass purity, and the end markets. And in these next slides, it'll take you through the application process to show you how uncomplicated it is to apply. It's a 2-step process. The first is online application, and of course, the second is the glass sampling. And the online application asks less than 15 questions related to the operation of a MRF. It asks if a MRF accepts glass, the volume of the material that's processed, if it receives glass from glass-only drop-off programs, and that volume, the type of equipment to select, the type of equipment that it utilizes to sort glass, if it removes -3/8 inch material, and if the MRF has an outlet for its glass materials. And the next step requires taking a glass sample and performing an audit of that material. The purpose of the sample is to understand the purity of the glass. We included detailed instructions, but if a MRF needs clarification or assistance, they may always reach out to the GRC. And the sample should be, again, a minimum of 5 pounds. and the weights and photos should be taken of non-glass residue, glass greater than, and then less than 3/8 of an inch. The weights and photos should be uploaded with the application on the website. And after submission, it takes approximately 3 to 4 weeks for notification of an award. And when the committee members conduct their evaluations, they can't see who the applicant is, so the focus remains purely on the system. And once the determination has been made to certify a MRF, the name, the location of the MRF will be revealed to the committee members. And any MRFs not awarded a certification will remain anonymous, and MRFs may apply again once improvements have been made. And of course, certified MRFs deserve to be recognized, and the GRC will promote their certifications. And the promotion strategies include write-ups in industry publications, a highlight on the GRC infrastructure map, and anything else that they can do to call attention to the certified MRF's achievements. So since the program was launched in October of 2019, there have been 10 MRFs that have been awarded certification with the latest and most recent gold member as FCC. So thank you for your time, and we hope you apply.
Thanks, Amy. So just one quick question for you. So as Sims Municipal Recycling is also a certified MRF, what do you feel like are were the benefits to Sims? And then subsequently, you mentioned a little bit about what the benefits are for other MRFs, but what have you found that is beneficial since you've been awarded your gold certification?
Since being awarded, we were contacted by some municipalities and other end market partners to congratulate us on our certification. And it was like a nice reminder for end markets that we exist. Some of our material does go to furnaces as cullet, but we have other material that goes to alternative uses. And so it was a nice reminder that we have this glass product that can be used in fill applications or for concrete or even lightweight aggregate, which was very, very nice.
Excellent.
And the other is that our municipal partners, it provided them with the confidence that we were doing the best that we could to, recover glass. And that was always very nice to have that confidence from your community.
Do you have any recommendations for a MRF that's considering applying to get certified?
They should just do it. It's very, very simple. It's free. There's other programs that charge an arm and a leg, but this is really about doing the right thing. And I think that's what MRF should do. Just to prove and show that they're doing the right thing to recover glass.
And I believe this is the only MRF glass certification program in the US, from what I understand.
Yes, for glass. Yes.
For glass, yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, well, thanks so much, Amy. Appreciate your perspective and a great presentation.
Thanks.
So now we'll move on to our next presenter. Oh, my slide changed. There we go. So our next presenter is Andrea Rodriguez Pinheiro. She is the General Manager of FCC Environmental Services, and I'm sorry if I messed up your title. So as you've heard, there are most recent certified MRF, and Andrea is going to tell us a little bit about FCC and how they handle glass. Thanks, Andrea.
Sure. Thank you, Marisa, for inviting me to this great presentation. And it's an honor for us to have received this certification. We are really happy and really proud for it. So my name is Andrea Rodriguez Pinheiro. As Marisa said, I am the Director for Recycling for the FCC Environmental Services here in the US. I'm going to do a little presentation about our company. We're still little in the US, but very big in Europe. So I wanted to show in the presentation a little bit of our background. So I'm talking about the FCC group before, and then we'll go into our recycling facilities in the US and how we handle glass here in the US. You can go a little bit more. So FCC is a company that has headquarters in Spain. We've been established in the 1900s. Our First contract was won with the city of Barcelona for the municipal services of collecting the trash there. We're still doing that contract in Barcelona. We have over 120 years of experience in waste management, more than 58,000 employees worldwide, present in 35 countries, and we're one of the leaders in environmental, water, and infrastructure development. This is a little bit of our history of FCC. As I said, founded in 1900, first contract in 1911. Our first waste recycling facility was in 1960 in the plant of Tarragona. And from there, in 2008, we came to the United States, and we've been establishing a footprint in Texas, Florida, and Nebraska. So I wanted to point out here, especially two contracts, which is the one with the city of Dallas for the design, build, and operation of a single stream recycling facility able to treat 140,000 tons. It's a 15-year contract. The contract was, it began on 2017. On 2018, we've been awarded similar contract for the city of Houston, design, build, and operation of a recycling facility. And it is also a 15-year contract plus a 5-year renovation contract. And we've been in operation since March 2019. This is a little bit of the figures of the company. Our revenues are going up since 2017. Same thing with the EBITDA. The company is profitable. One of our main stakeholders is Carlos Slim, which owns over 70% of the company. And these are the business areas. The FCC group is a diversified business model. We have the environmental, the water, construction, and cement part. We are part of the environment part. We do offer refuse collection, waste treatment, street cleaning, ground maintenance, and all those services, and especially recycling. We do recycle industrial waste, curbside recycling, solid waste from municipalities, and we try to do also remediation of polluted solids. This is our presence worldwide. As I said, we have very big presence in Europe. We also have some presence in Africa, in Egypt. We do the collection of El Cairo. We have also a recycling facility there. We have presence in the United States, Mexico, and some countries in South America. Our value creation, I mean, we're really, we do have a lot of experience. We believe in our know-how. We do spend a lot of money in innovation and technology capacity, and I want to touch base then later with the glass on that. We have a very big group of professionals that helps the day-to-day business of the company. And we're very big in health and safety. Probably all of the companies here in waste are very big on health and safety, but it's our main thing is our people go safety home every day. And this is our safety circle, you know, I mean, we want to make sure everyone plan, do, act, and check with safety always on mind. So I've been saying I want to go on to FCC in the US. As I said before, we came 2008. Our footprint, well, our references are here in Houston and Texas. In Houston, Texas, we have two contracts, both with the city of Houston. The main ones, one is for the biosolids collection, and the other one is for the recycling of the solid waste. We also provide services here to the city of La Porte, which is a small city in the Houston area, and the city of Huntsville. We won that recently. Provide services more the collection side in Florida. We would like to expand our recycling capabilities there. So we're looking for different RFPs and opportunities in Florida as well. We do have our recycling facility in the city of Dallas, in which we provide also municipal services to another 4 big municipalities in there. And we do have a contract for the collection in the city of Omaha. So in total, we are providing services for 8.5 million Americans, and we are the largest recycler right now in Texas. So this is our facility of Dallas. And right now, that's a picture of the facility of Dallas. Right now, FCC, we have over 200 facilities operated, and that counts with waste to energy, MBTs, single stream facilities, water stream facilities, transfer centers all around the world. We operate in 35 to 40 countries. And we have more than, right now, 60 years of experience and a lot of waste management experience, yeah. And we're in the recycling business, we're really proud of taking our experience and technical equipment and making sure that whenever we have the possibility of doing the design and construction and operation of the facility, that's our favorite, because we wanted to make sure that the design comes with the latest technology to make sure that we are able to divert as much as possible from the landfill and recover the materials with good quality. Really happy with these gold certificates that really evaluates the quality of our glass. It's really important for us that all our commodities have the best quality, and actually during the last period of 3 to 4 years, which was very difficult to move materials, we're proud to say that we were able to move all the time. And well, these are my team in Dallas and in Houston with the certificates. I'm very proud of them too. And I think it's a great milestone for us. We did submit the certification some time ago, and we resubmitted to make it sure that we get the gold certification. And well, the city of Dallas, I wanted to explain a little bit about our system and the glass cleanup system and how we achieve this gold certification. This is our Dallas facility. The facility was awarded in 2017 as the best recycling facility by the NWRA. It's a high technology facility. We did introduce a cleanup system for the glass, which the previous incumbent of this contract didn't have, to make sure that we get a good value for our glass. So we've been paid for our glass since we opened the facility. We never had a problem to sell it. And actually, we've been told by the buyers here in Texas that our glass is one of the best glass they ever bought in the state. So the glass system is in the beginning of the facility. We remove glass first thing of all, so because the glass is very abrasive, so we wanted to make sure that the equipment is taking good care. And then we pass it through a vibration table, which is a 2-deck. One is called Spaleg, the brand, and what it does, it separates the, once the glass is breaking, it separates the glass from other materials that are also big enough to go through the glass breaker, but they are not glass. And then after that, we send it to an equipment called Weller system. And what it does, it gives a really big flow of air, and we separate any contaminants that can be separated from the glass due to the density. The Dallas facility is a $20 million investment. It has 140,000 tons per year capacity. Currently, we're slightly over 60% capacity, and it's located in a city-owned property and 5.5 miles from the downtown center. And this is our Houston facility, which is the one that I have on the background. The Houston facility also received the Best Recycling Material Facility in 2020 award by the National Waste Recycling Association. And we're so very happy to have this gold certification that proves also that our glass is very good quality. We also are able to sell our glass from since day one, and we're actually getting more money value in the Houston one than in the Dallas area, but both are very competitive. We have more than one customer, which is also really good. It's a $25 million investment, as well. It has the latest technology innovations. We have a lot of optical sorters, robots, and the glass system is very similar to the Dallas one, in which we have a glass breaker, and the table, the vibration table, is actually a little bit more modern. And so it let us make sure that our glass is more homogeneous in size, and the weller system is a little bit more potent. So the color that we got is very clean. And that's about it for FCC.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Before you go, wanted to ask a question. You mentioned that FCC is originally based in Spain. And how do you see the difference of how glass recycling is viewed in Spain and throughout Europe versus how it is in the US?
So Marisa, as Scott said initially, glass is infinitable recyclable. So what we do in Spain is we actually sort it at home. The ways to get recyclables into the recycling facility, it's very different in the US from Europe. And actually in Europe, we do the sorting part at home. So we have like several small bins at home, and they are collected daily. So the glass have their own bin. It's really good because the contamination is lower. You don't have the other materials in terms of contamination, which I also think Scott will love that he was talking about the contamination part. And then the final use is actually the same, because it's really, you can recycle glass in many ways and give different use, as he explained in his presentation. But to begin with, whenever it arrives to the process facility for final processing, I think it's cleaner that way.
Definitely. Great. Well, congratulations on your well-deserved certification. I've actually been to both facilities. They're beautiful. The technology is wonderful, and kudos for keeping, investing in glass recycling and investing in recycling.
Thank you very much, Marisa.
Thank you. So we will move on to our next presenter. From the end market perspective, we welcome Angus Crane. He is with the North American Insulation Manufacturers Association, or also called NAMA. Welcome, Angus.
Thank you very much, Marissa. I'm very pleased to be here. What I would like to do is just give you a real brief introduction onto what NAMA is. And we are representatives of the fiberglass insulation manufacturers, along with the rock and slagwood manufacturers. One of the main focuses of our trade association is the benefits of insulation, specifically saving energy, reducing pollution. When you look at fiberglass ingredients, I think that this gives you an idea as to how important glass cullet is. All glass is made with soda ash and borax, and then there's a variation on the glass cullet. There's limestone sand, and also with certain products, there are coating and binders included. Now, I have a series of pictures here, and I'll go through them very quickly, but I want to give you an idea of kind of the breadth and variety of fiberglass insulation and our products. And so you just go through one after the other, and you see that we come in many different shapes and sizes. And that is one of our really strong attributes, is the variety of different shapes that we can take. Also, I want to, introduce immediately the most important issue, and that's the glass cullet supply issues. What we have found is that sometimes waste management companies will find that collecting glass is not as profitable as others, and they try to rewrite the contracts with local governments by demanding that glass collection be removed from the contract. And essentially what they will say to the state or municipality is they'll say that there's not really a market for glass. And NEMA is actively engaged in looking at and trying to set the record straight so that they know that there is a very vibrant market for recycled glass, particularly with fiberglass. The way we're able to document that is since 1992, NEMA has been conducting an annual survey, and we are just completing our survey for 2020 and 2019, and because of the pandemic, we kind of got behind. But the glass cullet numbers are collected from both U.S. and Canadian installation facilities, and the specific focus is that the most recent survey is from 2018, and like I say, when we have completed the 2019, we will do that an update on this. But if you look at the numbers, you'll see that with a combination of United States and Canada, we recycled 2.6 billion pounds of recycled glass. And in 2018, 2.2 billion pounds just in the United States alone. And then the Canadian facilities were 381 million pounds. But if you look at it from overall, since 1992, when we started collecting this data, we've 61.8 billion pounds of recycled material. And the next two slides, just kind of a graphic depiction of that trend since 1992. And also the recycling data gives you the very specific numbers for the various years. And so I want to emphasize that the use of glass cullet is very important to the industry, and it is largely because it provides significant benefits. Number one, the amount of energy that we use to melt the raw materials is decreased, and so that's a benefit. The use of raw materials is also reduced. We don't need to use as much sand or soda ash or some of the other constituents. Also, all of the melting that we do is done with different types of furnaces. And we can actually preserve the lifetime of a furnace up to 30% by using the glass cullet. And reports have actually documented that using 30% recycled glass cullet reduces silica use by 60% and soda ash by 40% and saves 10% in energy savings. So if you look at the message that we do with fiberglass and with insulation, we like to tell our customers and talk to our customers about the sustainable benefits of insulation. You know, and there's a big list of issues that we promote. We save energy. We reduce pollution. We make your home warm in the winter and cool in the summer. We also use recycled content, and a pound of our fiberglass insulation will save 12 times as much energy just with the first year that it is in place. We've also been able to document through a series of different studies with the Harvard School of Public Health and also Boston University that when insulation is used, it reduces pollution, and we can be very specific about the volume of pollution and the type of pollutant that is being reduced. Those are all very important sustainable messages, and that one of the key points is that we have recycled content, and it's high recycled content that has been growing over the years. With the challenge that we have with recycled content is that the supply is not always consistent. We are the second largest user of glass cullet in the United States. And sometimes the other challenge that we have is that there are contaminants in glass cullet that can wreak havoc with our manufacturing process. Things like paper or plastic labels, caps, cork, and other debris. And then also cullet sometimes results in additional pollutants that we didn't have before, such as NOx and chromium and VOCs. So those are some of the challenges we have. The fact that those challenges are there demonstrates how important and valuable recycled material is, because despite those disadvantages, the advantages outweigh it significantly. There are specific things that we've identified that should never be added, and this is a list of those. And then these are things that should never be put into recycling of glass. And then we also have kind of a contamination level, and this is something that we've done with our members, and there's a certain tolerance level, so we share this with those who collect glass for us, so they have a better understanding of what is needed. So the thing also I wanted to emphasize is that fiberglass could use a much higher recycled content if it were available. And as I mentioned before, the challenge is to make certain that the cullet is clean. And so there are those are the challenges that we have, but the benefits, we're always looking for good, clean class cullet. And in order to do this and to fight this misperception that there's not a market for fiberglass, we have essentially gone out and spoken whenever there's an opportunity. We've been successful in pushing back some programs to remove glass from the recycling stream in Houston. We've done a lot of work in Georgia. In Georgia, we are the largest user of glass cullet. And we also, in the city of Fayetteville, Arkansas, we were able to successfully prevent the city from eliminating curbside collection. We've supported bottle bills in Massachusetts. We don't even have a plant there, but we're very dedicated to advocating for any opportunity to kind of improve and increase the quality of glass cullet. And so that's all the presentation I have for today. Thank you, Marissa.
Thank you, Angus. Before you go, I'd love to ask a question. You mentioned, contamination or things that you should not be included in the recycling bin is something that's on the minds of program managers all over the US. So when you mentioned contaminants, you had quite a list. What do you see as the most either common contaminant or most harmful contaminant when it comes to fiberglass?
I think that the most harmful are the different types of glass that people may intuitively think should be able to be recycled, and that's like the computer glass, the Pyrex. Those types of glass, if they get into the glass mix in the manufacturing process, will wreak havoc and would have to be shut down. And so those are catastrophic. And what we've been trying to do is be very proactive in educating the people who collect the glass for us so that they're aware. We provide things like the percentages, and when they ask, we're able to give them very specific information. Also, the individual companies provide individual guidance. And so what we're trying to do at all times is this education program so that they recognize what the consequences are. We'll show kind of illustrations or graphical depictions of what happens when we have problems with glass melt, and it becomes problematic because it creates a danger. And so that helps them to recognize and understand they need to be careful.
Excellent. It seems too, and just to emphasize that a little bit more, it feels like the glass cullet that's used in the fiberglass process is still not directly from MRFs. Usually it's not MRF to fiberglass, that there's usually still a beneficiation or cleaning up process in
Yes.
between that. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, it is. This cleaning up process is absolutely essential. And we get people who call and they will talk with me and they specifically say, I've got a load of glass. Can I just drop it off at one of your companies? And I say, no, you can't. It needs to be processed. It needs to be cleaned up. And their argument to me is, the heat, the amount of heat in your manufacturing process is so intense that no matter what you do, it's going to melt any kind of contaminants away. You don't need to worry about it. And I said, yes, we do. And so they need to understand that this is a very delicate and sensitive manufacturing process that is complex, and it cannot take contaminants. And so that's why we're very careful to use the cullet that has been very carefully washed and prepared for us. And what's important to recognize is, despite that process, this glass is being kept out of the landfill. It's being recycled. There's enormous benefits from that.
Excellent. Excellent. Thanks so much, Angus. We appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you, Marissa.
You're welcome. So we'll move on to the next presenter. And before he even starts, I'm gonna plant the seed that if you could talk a little bit about on the container side. You saw the list of contaminants on the fiberglass side. If during your presentation you can address that as well, that would be fantastic. So without further ado, Jim Nordmeyer, who is the Vice President of Global Sustainability for OI Glass. He is also, as Scott mentioned, on the leadership of the Glass Recycling Coalition. So welcome, Jim.
Thank you, Marissa, and thank you to SWANA and the sponsors of this webinar today. Yes, OI Glass has been around for a long time. And, given the fact that we've been around and through the years since 1903, we have been a strong, resilient organization that has survived 2 world wars, a pandemic, and many other types of energy crisis, et cetera, that we have dealt with over the last 120 years, and OI still survives and is a glass container manufacturer today. We have one product. We love glass, and we're proud to be one of the largest leading producers of glass jars and bottles around the globe, and our vision is very clear. We'll be the most innovative, sustainable, and chosen supplier of brand building packaging solutions. And as we talk about the benefits of glass and why do we love glass? Well, for several reasons. And the topic today is the fact that it's sustainable. It's 100% infinitely recyclable. We've heard that from the presenters prior to me. It can be recycled over and over without the loss of quality, and it does not harm the earth or the oceans. And of course, glass that is collected either through a Murf or the deposit systems likely can return to the shelf as another glass container in as little as 30 days. And again, for those materials that the glass that is collected that is not used by the container industry, there are alternate industries, as we heard from Amy, and we also just heard from Angus. There are good end markets for all the glass that is produced on a daily basis to be recycled and turned back into glass containers or other products. Of course, it's emotional, it ignites the experience, it adds value to the product. What you see is what you get in the container. It's pure taste, it doesn't impart any flavors. And of course, being 100% inert, pure, of all natural material, makes it the perfect choice for your favorite food and beverages. But enough about that, and let's talk about really what is the demand like and why is there increasing demand for good, clean cullet. We've heard Angus just talk about the demand in the fiberglass industry. This particular map complements the Glass Recycling Coalition website, shows the glass container footprint across the United States. Quite a number of plants there. Yes, there are some white spaces, many white spaces here, but glass container plants are near those facilities that are using glass for the food and beverages that they manufacture. So the dots are logical. They're there for a reason. They're close to the end market where they're used. But to that point, you know, the demand for good, clean cullet is there. It's been there every day. Scott opened this webinar with a study that the glass packaging industry did over the pandemic year of 2020. And it said, you know, setting a goal of a 50% recycling target by 2030 is not unlike the targets we have set, our organization, and it's not unlike targets being set by other glass container manufacturers here in the United States, as well as globally. And those are around our sustainability goals, not just ours, but somewhat the industry sustainability goals of keeping the perfect material for a circular economy in the loop, right? Having us continue to mine natural raw materials, sand, soda ash, and limestone, melting them to only have them go back into the earth in the form of a landfill makes zero sense for 100% recycled material. It helps in our manufacturing process. It helps with our greenhouse gas emissions. We can recover some of the embedded energy that Amy talked to us about earlier today. It is a key lever for the industry, particularly the glass industry, in meeting its sustainability goals as we go forward. But what does that all mean as we look to the demand for cleaner cullet? You know, as I mentioned, glass is the perfect material for the circular economy, and you believe or think of the principles of a circular economy of reduce the need for, reuse the material, recycle the material, and use renewable resources. Well, glass checks the box on every one of those. I can reduce the need for by making it as light as possible. I can reuse that container, and some on this webinar, I'm sure, remember the returnable, reusable containers that were iconic. They were ubiquitous in the carbonated soft drink industry and in the beer industry years ago, because it's one of the few materials that can be reused, returned, refilled, and back on the shelf. And when it's no longer suitable for that use, it could be recycled and back on the shelf in as little as 30 days. And if you think of that process, that makes it a renewable resource, as long as I keep it in that circular economy. We've heard prior presenters talk about greenhouse gas emissions and the impact of greenhouse gas being reduced for every ton that is used. Surveys are saying consumers are looking for recycled content. Over the course of the pandemic, and I'll give this as a reference, if McKinsey did a number of studies on the impact of the pandemic to packaging, because we saw a lot of increase in use of one-way packaging, throwaway packaging at the height of the pandemic, and take out and carry out foods, or additional materials being used to protect the food and beverages that we were purchasing. But also the consumers are saying, enough is enough. We need to stop the continuous single-use materials. We need to reduce our use of that and revert back to getting these materials recycled. And we're seeing more fast-moving consumer goods companies setting bold goals on recycled content or recyclability. Now that doesn't just apply to glass, that applies to all the substrates that they're using for their packaging material. And they're also setting goals, not unlike the glass industry, of a minimum of 50% recycled content, in many cases, much higher. And as I mentioned earlier, the container manufacturers set that 50% target for recycling to achieve by the end of 2030. And what does that mean? Another 2.5 or 2,500,000 tons to be collected and processed above and beyond what's being collected today. So just think of how much we're leaving on the table each and every day in decisions taken by waste haulers, decisions taken by municipalities to have glass in or glass out. We need your help. We have the demand, the markets are there for good, clean cullet. I go back to one of Scott's first statements in the opening presentation: quality matters. And wow, it's not just glass. In single stream recycling, we all want a good, clean product. So collection systems matter. You know, putting it together in a single bin and then asking our MRFs to unscramble the egg, it's a daunting task. And we heard from Amy, we heard from Andrea. We have 2 MRFs who do an excellent job of unscrambling that egg every day. But think about if we looked at our collection systems and how we do that and how the MRF then takes care of that material, we can make a cleaner product for everybody. Look at for paper, for plastic, for aluminum, for steel, and most definitely for glass. As we heard Amy say, most things go through a 3-inch screen on its way out. Or well, the first step. So we get the caps, we get the K-cups, the photo that Scott showed us in his presentation. And of course, we get a lot of fines. So, you know, systems that yield, collection systems that yield pieces that are greater than 3/8 of an inch are more desirable, because there has been great advances in the sorting technology over the years that anything that is 3/8 and up, it can identify as glass or non-glass and can effectively sort it from the process. And that's why our collection systems that create smaller and smaller particles means more and more are going to landfills, because it's even difficult to get that finer material clean enough for use in those other applications that we talked about, whether it be in the abrasives market, for metal preparation, or the fiberglass market, or the filtration market. It still has to be clean, good material. So our systems matter, the size matters, and is at the end, I would challenge it to say, is single stream collection really the answer? You know, we have been nudged by the waste haulers as that is the most effective. And there are cases where that may be true, but there are good cases to look at alternate collection systems to actually better the stream of all recyclables, and particularly the stream of recyclables for glass. So as we kind of look at that path to the 50% in North America, where's the industry focusing? Scott shared a lot of information from the study that was launched and done in 2020. And there's that 2.5 million ton gap to goal. We start on the left side of this chart. And so kind of a 3-pillar approach to get that 2.5 million tons by 2030. First is leave no bottle behind, right? And that is to provide good, clean collection streams, whether that's coming through a MRF or through alternate collection systems in your municipalities. The expansion of commercial recycling, and whether we're shaping new or expanded bottle bills. In the 10 bottle bill states that Scott mentioned, that 60%, I think 60% of the cullet that is used by across all industries today come from those 10 states because of it's a good, clean stream. Many of those states are looking at expansion of those goals because typically it applies to beer and carbonated soft drinks, occasionally water. Sometimes you see wine, sometimes you don't. But you know, as they expand to other containers and reshape, we see as leaving no bottle behind, make it collectible and get it back into that circular economy. Do we need to transform the recycling system? We see there's 3 to 5% based on this study that we see in that pillar by strengthening MRF infrastructure. And I applaud our MRF certification winners through the Glass Recycling Coalition over the years. They have invested the time, the effort, and the dollars to clean up glass and improve and strengthen their infrastructure. And then once we start collecting all this, we're going to need to build additional processing capacity to clean that material, to make it furnace ready, either for containers, fiberglass, or other applications. And then lastly, we have can you go back one slide, Marissa? We got to change the conversation, and changing the conversation around whether it is an industry-run deposit return system could be quite controversial, or building innovative partnerships. And that's where I want to maybe spend just a few few moments here. These innovative partnerships change the game of how we're doing it today. We've been in single stream recycling since the late 90s. Has it served us? Yes. Has it been perfect? No. Are there other innovative partnerships and innovative ways that we can attack recycling, and particularly glass recycling in North America? And it's building those innovative partnerships. And the glass industry is, committed and positioned to do that, to reach that goal of 50% recycling by 2030. And because that is in line with our customers' goals, that is in line with consumer expectations. So, with that, to kind of wrap it up here, it's been a, session here. For listening to 5 speakers can be a bit daunting, but thank you for your time. And in the words of our founder, Michael J. Owens, it definitely can be done. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Jim. Excellent presentation. Today, you're right, we did hear a lot of information. So we'll wrap, if our speakers want to go on camera, you're welcome to. I want to thank you all for your time and for your expertise. This is a great presentation. Today we learned about the roadmap for getting to 50% for glass recycling. We heard about the MRF certification. We heard about MRFs in action with their certification, and then heard from 2 different end markets. So a lot of hope where glass recycling is concerned. I would just maybe throw it out there. Jim, you had such a hopeful message. What are the other things that what inspires the most hope for you is what you're seeing in the steps right now that are being taken?
Yeah, so great question, Marissa. And I think the most hope for me, and it's personal. I mean, I've been in the sustainability business since I could say the beginning of my career many years ago. We won't go into how many that was, but many years ago. And I got the opportunity in 2016 to get back into it and get back into it in the glass container business. So what inspires me is I see the industry coming together, and not just the glass industry, but we're all recognizing that we have to address the entire ecosystem. We have to build those innovative partnerships, not only with municipalities, waste haulers, cullet processors, but partnerships with brands, partnerships with waste haulers, partnerships with trade associations to make this work. It is about transforming what we do and achieving balance together, not as individual organizations. So there's, what excites me is the industry is coalescing to come together and make bold change.
Great. Any final words before we wrap up this fantastic session?
Oh, Marissa, thanks. I just wanted to, put one final plug in to all of those that are watching. The industry really does want to partner with community leaders, municipal public officials. If you think you have a glass problem in your community, please reach out to us. We want to work with you. There's a variety of different ways that we can address the problems in the community, but the industry is committed to working with communities across the country to help solve those issues.
Great. Well, another big thank you to all of our speakers, Got to Fife, Amy Wong, Andrea Rodriguez Pinheiro, Angus Crane, Jim Nordmeyer. Thank you. A big thank you to SWANA North America, the Solid Waste Association of North America, for inviting us. And with the contact information is on the screen. We'll see you all next time.